I stood at the bottom of the service stairs, watching my twins, Emma and Ethan, struggle to reach the sink in the dimly lit staff bathroom. The fluorescent light flickered overhead, casting shadows on the cracked tiles and rust-stained fixtures. This was where Victoria Sterling, my mother-in-law, had decided my children belonged. The public restrooms are reserved for our premium shoppers, she'd announced when we'd arrived for what was supposed to be a preview of the mall's grand reopening. Her diamond rings caught the light as she gestured dismissively. We have certain standards to maintain. The real message was clear. My children didn't meet those standards. Mama, the soap dispenser is broken, Emma called out, standing on tiptoe. Here, sweetheart. I helped her reach the industrial soap pump, trying not to think about the mold growing in the corner. Victoria's voice carried down the concrete stairwell. Sarah, darling, do hurry. The VIP tour is starting and we can't have you wandering around the service areas. Though I suppose you're used to such accommodations. 6 years of these subtle jabs about my background, my parenting, my very existence. 6 years of watching her treat my children like they were somehow contaminating her precious retail empire. They look like discount store mannequins, I'd overheard her telling a luxury brand representative once. But what can you expect? Their mother probably thinks designer means it's on clearance. Ethan tugged at my sleeve. The toilet's making weird noises. Just use the other one, honey. I guided him away from the questionable plumbing. We need to get ready for the opening ceremony. Ready to serve refreshments, you mean? Victoria descended the stairs, her Louboutins clicking on each step. Do try to keep them from touching the displays. They're not accustomed to handling merchandise of this caliber. The way she said caliber made it sound like a private club my family would never qualify for. They know how to behave in upscale stores, I said firmly. James taught them well. Yes, well, my son had unfortunate, democratic ideas about retail. She sniffed. Thank goodness I'm here to maintain standards. I bit my tongue. Soon, very soon, she would learn exactly what this discount store mother had been doing while she was busy collecting luxury brands and contempt. We need to prepare for the ceremony, Victoria, I reminded her. The opening starts in an hour. Her grand reopening, the culmination of a $50 million renovation project. Tonight, the city's elite would gather to praise her vision as she unveiled the most exclusive shopping destination in the state. This would mark her 20th year as the property's manager and public face. Yes, yes, she waved her manicured hand. Though I don't know why you're attending the VIP section, the champagne alone. James would have wanted us there, I said quietly. That silenced her, as it always did. Her only son, the real estate developer who disappointed her by marrying a teacher, then devastated her by dying and leaving his insurance money to us instead of her. What she didn't know was that James had left us much more than that. Very well, she conceded. But do something about their clothes. I can't have them looking like, well, like what we were. Common, ordinary, beneath her. After she clicked away, I helped the twins change into their ceremony outfits, designer pieces that would make Victoria choke if she knew they weren't knockoffs. Remember what Daddy used to say? I asked while adjusting Emma's pearl necklace. They nodded together. Everyone deserves to feel special when they shop. That's right, and tonight we're going to make sure everyone does. The twins exchanged knowing smiles. They'd watched me in late-night meetings with investors, had seen the acquisition papers I'd signed. They might be 9, but they understood karma perfectly well. Will Grandma be mad? Ethan asked, straightening his tie. Grandma will be getting a taste of her own customer service, I assured him. Sometimes people need to experience how they treat others. In the mall's grand atrium an hour later, Victoria was in her element. She floated between luxury store owners, accepting praise about her impeccable taste, her vision for exclusive retail, her 20 years of elevating shopping standards. If only they knew how she really treated those she deemed unworthy of her precious mall. Sarah, dear, she air-kissed my cheeks when we approached. I'm amazed you could afford those children's outfits. They almost look presentable. The twins stood perfectly poised, their ensembles worth more than Victoria thought I made in 3 months. She didn't recognize the exclusive designer. She'd never expect us to have access to their private collection. We wouldn't miss it. I smiled. Especially not tonight's announcements. Her perfectly threaded eyebrows arched. Announcements? The only announcement is my opening speech. Oh, the board didn't inform you of the ownership transition. For a moment, panic flashed across her cosmetically enhanced features. What ownership transition? I'm sure it will all become clear during your speech, I said smoothly. The twins and I have front row seats. Front row? Those are for major stakeholders only? Yes, I agreed. They are. Leaving her flustered, I guided Emma and Ethan to our reserved seats, directly in front of the podium where Victoria would soon deliver her speech. The speech she'd spent months crafting, detailing her legacy in luxury retail. A legacy that was about to get a dramatic markdown. Mrs. Harrison, Marcus, the head of security, approached with a tablet. Everything's prepared for the announcement. Victoria, still hovering nearby, watched this exchange with growing unease. She'd never seen security staff defer to me before. Never seen me sign anything official. Never imagined I could. Perfect. I took the tablet. And the security footage? Ready to display. The twins squeezed my hands under the table. They knew what was coming. We planned this as a family, just as James and I had discussed before his death. We have to use the basement bathroom again, Emma whispered. No, sweetheart, I promised. After tonight, everyone uses the same facilities, or no one does. Victoria stepped up to the podium, ready to begin her meticulously prepared speech about retail excellence. She had no idea she was about to learn that treating people like second-class citizens comes with its own price tag. Sometimes the best revenge isn't showing people how wealthy you are. It's letting them ring up their own karma. Victoria tapped her crystal champagne flute, the sound echoing through the marble atrium. Behind her, an enormous LED screen waited to display her carefully produced video about the mall's journey to luxury. Distinguished guests, she began, her voice dripping with practiced refinement, welcome to the grand reopening of Sterling Plaza. As we celebrate 20 years of exclusive shopping excellence. Right on cue, the screen flickered. Instead of her polished presentation, security footage began playing. There she was, forcing my children to use the basement facilities, her cruel words captioned in elegant font for all to see. Victoria, absorbed in her notes, didn't notice immediately, but the gasps from the VIP crowd made her turn around. What is this? She demanded. Security, shut that off at once. Please continue, Victoria. I stood up. Tell us more about your commitment to customer service. The footage shifted to other incidents, Victoria mocking middle-class shoppers, having security remove children who looked undesirable, making my twins use service entrances because they weren't properly dressed. This is outrageous, she sputtered. Discriminatory? I suggested. Elitist, or just another day at Sterling Plaza? The atrium filled with whispers. Several fashion journalists pulled up their phones, already typing. Who authorized this display? Victoria's voice trembled with rage. I did. I walked to the podium, the new owner of Sterling Plaza. The silence that followed was as cold as the marble floors. Victoria's face went from red to ghostly white. Impossible, she whispered. You're nothing. A schoolteacher James married despite my objections. A teacher who helped her husband invest very wisely, I corrected. While you were collecting luxury brands, Victoria, James and I were collecting something more valuable. Evidence of how you really treat people. James would never. James did. Every investment, every board position, every detail was planned before his death. He just hoped you'd learn compassion on your own first. The twins joined me at the podium, poised despite the crowd's attention. Emma spoke first. Daddy said shopping should make everyone feel special. Ethan added, not just rich people. Victoria staggered backward as if their words had physically struck her. The footage behind her showed her latest acts of discrimination, playing in high definition. As the new owner, I continued, I'm implementing immediate changes. First, all facilities will be upgraded to the same standard. No more separate bathrooms for staff or undesirable guests. Several store employees nodded in approval. Second, any form of discrimination against customers or staff will result in immediate termination. No exceptions. You have no right. Victoria began. I have every right. Your position as property manager is terminated, effective immediately. However, I paused. You're welcome to apply for our new community outreach program, teaching retail skills to underprivileged youth. Some guests actually applauded at the irony. "Marcus, I call to security. Please escort Miss Sterling to her office to collect her belongings. Your team will supervise." Victoria stood frozen, her retail empire crumbling around her designer heels. "Why?" she choked out. "Why humiliate me like this?" "The same reason you humiliated my children, to teach a lesson about dignity." I met her gaze. "The difference is, they didn't deserve their humiliation. You earned yours." One of her socialite friends attempted to intervene. "This is absurd. Victoria has brought every major luxury brand to this mall and driven away countless potential customers with her elitism." I cut in. "Would you like to see more footage? Perhaps when she had security remove a child for touching a display window." The woman retreated quickly. Marcus appeared with a box for Victoria's belongings. "Your keys and access cards, Ms. Sterling." Her hands shook as she surrendered them. "And if I refuse to leave?" "Then the complete security footage goes to every fashion magazine and social media platform." I smiled. "I'm sure they'd love to review your unique approach to customer relations." She collapsed into a chair, 20 years of superiority finally losing its shine. "James knew. All this time, he knew what I'd become." "He knew," I confirmed. "He just hoped he'd remember that retail should be about making people feel welcome, not excluded." Emma tugged at my sleeve. "Can we use the nice bathrooms now, Mama? The basement ones are scary." "Yes, sweetheart. You can use any facility you want." I turned to the assembled guests. "Thank you all for coming. Sterling Plaza's new inclusion policies will be distributed shortly. We hope you'll continue shopping with us, where everyone is treated with respect." Behind us, Victoria began gathering her personal items, her perfect world reduced to a cardboard box of business cards that suddenly meant nothing. Sometimes the best lessons about service come from those we refused to serve. As we walked away, Ethan looked back at his grandmother. "Will she be okay, Mama?" "That depends on what she learns from this," I answered honestly. "Sometimes people need to lose their status to find their humanity." The transformation of both Sterling Plaza and Victoria Sterling over the next 6 months surprised everyone, especially those who'd witnessed her fall from retail grace. Initially, Victoria retreated to her penthouse, emerging only to shop at competing malls where she'd loudly criticize our new common approach. But when luxury brands, fearing association with her now viral behavior, began declining her private shopping appointments, she faced an unfamiliar experience: rejection. The turning point came through, of all things, a lost child. "I need help," she called one evening, her voice missing its usual hauteur. "There's a crying girl at the food court. No one will help her because they remember how I treated children here." I could have ignored her. Part of me wanted to. Instead, I said, "Stay with her. I'm coming down." The Victoria who waited by the food court was barely recognizable. Her designer outfit was rumpled, her perfect makeup smudged, and her eyes held something I'd never seen before: guilt. Our new customer service manager, Rosa, someone Victoria would once have dismissed as staff, had already started helping the little girl. "We can make an announcement," Rosa said, but Victoria shook her head. "Let me help," she said quietly. I know this mall better than anyone." What followed was what the staff called the Great Transformation. The woman who once wouldn't let common children use the main bathroom spent hours walking the mall with a lost little girl, checking every store until they found her mother. "Your grandmother helped find a little girl today," Rosa told the twins. "She even bought her ice cream while they waited." And she smiled, actually smiled. The twins, showing more grace than their grandmother ever had, started spending weekend afternoons at the mall. They'd help younger children at the new play area, while Victoria watched from nearby. One day, I overheard Emma ask her, "Why were you so mean before, Grandma?" Victoria set down her shopping bags, hands trembling. "Because I thought being exclusive meant being better," she admitted softly. "I forgot that a mall isn't about keeping people out, it's about welcoming them in." "Like when Daddy took us shopping?" "Yes," she whispered. "Your father understood that everyone deserves to feel special when they shop. I was too blind to see it." The real breakthrough came during our first community shopping event. A teenage girl came looking for a prom dress, clearly unable to afford the luxury boutiques. The old Victoria would have had security watch her. The new Victoria spent hours helping her find a beautiful dress on clearance. The look on her face was worth more than any designer label, she said afterward, watching the girl leave clutching her dress bag. Later that evening, as the mall closed, Victoria lingered by the fountain. "I've been thinking," she said quietly, "about my contacts in the industry." "Oh, yes. I'd like to start a program, bringing designer samples and last season items to people who couldn't normally afford them, making luxury accessible." I studied her face, looking for any trace of her old superiority. I found none. "That's a generous idea," I said carefully, "but it would mean mixing with common shoppers." "There's nothing common about dignity," she replied, watching a janitor clean nearby. "I just wish I'd realized that sooner." The twins, who'd been pretending not to window shop, hugged their grandmother. For the first time ever, Victoria hugged back without worrying about wrinkling her clothes. "Will you take us shopping, Grandma?" Ethan asked. "Better," Victoria smiled. "I'll teach you how to make everyone feel like a VIP." She looked at me uncertainly. If that's allowed." I nodded, watching decades of prejudice dissolve like sale tags. "I think that's exactly what this mall needs." As we walked to the parking lot, Emma pointed to the new family restroom, clean, beautiful, and available to everyone. "Look, Mama, sometimes the best changes start in the smallest places." Yes, I agreed, watching Victoria hold doors open for the evening cleaning crew. And sometimes people change when they realize everyone deserves respect. The mall's lights dimmed behind us, but its future shone brighter than any designer showcase ever could. In the end, it wasn't about luxury brands, revenge, or even retail success. It was about learning that true class isn't shown by what you sell. It's shown by how you treat people when no one's watching your price tags.